The gift of forgiveness. Have you given yourself the gift of forgiveness? So often, ones feel the sense of forgiving another, and ones forgive another, but often ones do not forgive themselves. Beating upon one year after year, not forgiving oneself. How does one forgive oneself? How does one forgive another or many others? How does one forgive tragedy that has caused only deep emotional trauma? How does one forgive loss? How does one forgive? Forgiveness is for oneself. Forgiveness is allowing space to be all one is meant to be. For when one has not forgiven oneself or another, one truly carries the burdens. One truly carries the heaviness. One truly is attached to shackles that hold one from being their most magnificent being. For when ones have not forgiven, condemnation usually follows. In the oneness, in the wholeness, sharing higher consciousness. So we speak about forgiveness, and it is a difficult, we want to say challenge. To some, forgiveness comes easily. To some, they just feel, they extend the kindness to oneself and to the other. They extend compassion to oneself and to another, and they truly find the space of relief. And forgiveness is relief. Forgiveness is allowing a fresh start, if you will, a new beginning. And the new beginning is walking free to be free of one's thoughts, free of one's condemnation, free of being resentful, perhaps angry, free of feeling hurt, abandoned, if you will. Forgiveness, it is for oneself. No one can make one forgive. Forgiveness truly comes from deep within. And forgiveness is a choice. It doesn't feel like a choice. For ones will say, do you have any idea what they did? Do you have any idea the tragedy that was experienced? Do you have any idea? How could I forgive that? It feels as though forgiveness cannot be extended to certain things, if you will. Forgive one for something that it doesn't seem so deep. But it is difficult to forgive someone or something that has caused great amounts of loss and sorrow and heartache and hurt. Deep amounts. It is in forgiveness that one can be free. It is a choice. It is a choice. And ones have difficulty wrapping their head around it being a choice, but it is. Why would one hang on to the emotions, to the feelings that not being forgiving causes, if you will? So you have chosen not to forgive yourself. Somewhere in your psyche, if you will, your belief system, that if you beat upon yourself for something that you created, a wrongdoing, let us just be gentle, and you truly are beating upon yourself, not forgiving yourself, not any room to forgive yourself, it creates such havoc in one's being. It creates such havoc on the physical mind, the physical body, if you will. Now, when we say physical mind, because there is also the mind of creation, the mind that extends beyond one's mind, the mind that emits a vibration. And so just think of it as a vibration extending forth, from within extending forth. You know when ones are angry, and they've been angry a long time, years, it has become part of them. It is the shackles that wrap around their very being. It becomes their personality. You can feel it in one's presence. They don't have to speak. You can feel it. That is the extension of vibration we speak about. Now, when you are around one that just emanates light and grace and love and compassion and kindness, they do not have to utter a word, and you feel their presence. You feel the love just in their presence. And that is the extension of the vibration we speak about. We share higher consciousness. And we have shared time and time again that higher consciousness is truly having a level of compassion that is beyond comprehension. To have a level of kindness that would allow a space to only feel love towards oneself, towards another. Higher consciousness is a love so pure, not a love with conditions. Oh, I will love you if you fill in the blank. If you didn't behave this way, I would love you more. If you didn't do this, if you didn't do that, if you showed me, or if you, and fill it in. That is not love in its purest form. Love in its purest form in higher consciousness is pure. There are no other words to describe the level of love. When one has reached, if you will, the higher consciousness sense of all that is, one would never have to be forgiving. One would naturally understand that one's behave on the level of one's own consciousness. Have you ever done something and then years look back and think, why would I do something like that? I couldn't imagine. Why would I do that? I would never do that this day. I would never say something like that this day. I would never treat another unkind like I did that day years ago. I wouldn't do that now. That is awareness, becoming higher consciousness. It is becoming the fullness of who you truly are. Where were you before you arrived on Mother Earth? Most would agree you were loving light. Most would agree that when ones depart physical form to non-physical, most would agree that one's transition into the most loving light, into the most loving space, into higher consciousness in its purest sense. And we are wanting to share that the light that is experienced, the light that you are before physical form, after physical form, is who you are. You are as brilliant as the sun. We say it all the time. To some, it is just a whole lot of BS, a whole lot of fluff. How can I shine light when I've lived the life I have lived? How can I forgive myself after what I have done? After who I have hurt? After the decisions I made? How can I find forgiveness? But when ones truly look back, if you will, ones would understand that ones are creating from a space of where their consciousness is, the level of consciousness. Now it gets muddy, it gets tricky. We have often, if not always, we have never changed our wording when we say, underneath layers of human experience is a love so pure, a love so grand, it is light. We always say that ones are this brilliant, loving light, before, after physical form. We are wanting ones to understand it is in life experience that covers or causes layers, if you will. One's conditioning, the family they grew up in, the part of the world they are growing up in. What is around them? What do they see? Are they living in a rich neighborhood, a poor neighborhood? The consciousness between humans would be very different. Ones would agree. Ones would agree that the development of children wouldn't each child be very different if one grew up in a house that always had condemning, unkind, harsh words, and one grows up in a house that always had loving, nourishing words, always an extension of love. Each soul would be very different and unique because of the experience, because of the conditioning, because of what they know. So when one does cause great amounts of pain or harm, let us just be gentle. One has a reason, if you will, not to be forgiven. One has presented something to you so harsh, so unpleasant, you couldn't imagine forgiving. Or you have experienced something that you cannot forgive yourself for, decision made. And we are gently reminding you that you were acting from the place of where you were the day you stood there, the day that you made the decision, the day that fill in the blank, whatever happened that you are wanting to find forgiveness for to yourself and unable to do so. We want you to find the gentleness to understand that somewhere the layers covered up who you naturally are. Now ones will say, well, isn't that nice? So ones don't have to pay for what they have done. They're just going to walk around and hurt others because of the house they grew up in. Is that what you are saying? How can one just not be punished for what they have done. And we want to say, where is the punishment? Where is the punishment? Now we know we can get right deep into the rabbit hole and open up a dialogue that, would create one's heads to spin, if you will. But our sharing is on a very general sharing for ones truly wanting to live their authentic self in an authentic world in which they create. Everyday life. That is what we speak about. Everyday life. Forgiveness sets you free. No one can make you forgive. No one. No one. No one. There are no words that we can share or that anyone can share that would make you, if you will, forgive. You can perhaps say it, yes, I forgive you, but deep within, you haven't. Or ones will say, well, I can forgive, but I'm not going to forget. Is that pure forgiveness? Something to ponder. Saying, I forgive you, and then a space of condemnation, every conversation, if you will. One's act from where they are, from what they know. Every soul has experienced it. I don't know why I did such a thing. I don't know why I did that. It doesn't mean that ones get off the hook easily, because when ones create hurt and havoc, others truly want them to, we want to say, suffer. Want to take them to task for what they've done. Want to punish them for what they have done. Want to make sure life for them is extremely miserable for what they have done. Not understanding that there's a very good chance, if not the truth of, life was quite miserable before they have created the havoc, or it wouldn't have been created. Layers upon layers, conditioning upon conditioning, experience upon experiences, heartache upon heartache, hurt upon hurt. One's watching others. One's watching others. One growing up in a household that only heard unkind words. Parents were unkind to one another, siblings unkind to another. Even in a kind gesture of sort of teasing another. Unkind words. It sits in one's heart. And if one believes in the unkind words, truly believes in it, they will live up to what others are thinking they are. They start to believe. They start to believe. You see it in parents. You see it in families. And one's not truly knowing of the harshness of the layers that one is causing to another. One's will tease another. Are you as dumb as you look? Are you truly as dumb as you look? Can you tie your shoes? You're 10 years old. Can you tie your shoes? Oh, your shoes are tied. Who helped you? You're not as dumb as you look. And the little one feels it in their heart. And the little one goes off to school and they feel dumb. They feel that they look dumb. They feel that they are dumb. And in that creation, most times, ones believe it so much that they prove to the parent or whoever is causing the wording, who's ever sharing the wording, unkind wording, I suppose I am as dumb as I look, they will say as they hand over the report card. Now others will take that and want to prove one wrong. Ones will say, really? You think I'm dumb? Watch me. And that is the conditioning. That is the conditioning. So ones go out and they create to get back another, if you will. So they've heard the words, we're going to go with the same thought. They've heard the words, are you as dumb as you look? And so they go out and they create a space to be of high intelligence, really creating the space. They come home 10 years old. They have only A's to show their family. And there's a good chance that the one that had all the condemning had never seen an A on a report card themselves. And so it would aggravate them. And they would say, who do you think you are, rubbing this in my face? Do you think you're smarter than I am? Do you think you're going to prove yourself to me? Do you think you're going to outsmart me? And on and on and on it goes. So the little one that is around the condemning, truly the result would provide a space of more condemning. Most times. Because the one that is creating the unkind words is in a space of the layers that cover up one's inner light, in a space that perhaps no one shared with them how brilliant they are. They are the ones that are feeling dumb. They are the ones that hurt deep within, wanting to cause pain to another because it is what they know. Does it get one off the hook? Well, how do you punish one for the hurt that they hold within? How do you do it? We just pointed out that more condemning. So, find a space to forgive ones for their unkind words. And even far greater than that, find a space to understand not to hold on to the unkind words. Find a space not to ever believe in unkind words, because unkind words are given from one who is experiencing what they are delivering. It is of great truth. It is of great truth. They are delivering from a space for what they know, where they stand, the consciousness in where they stand. Now, can ones change? Absolutely. Ones can look back and say, I don't know why I raised my children the way I did. I guess my parents raised me like that. I had a uncle that was really unkind. I suppose I really looked up to him. I really thought he was something. And I guess I just took to heart his words that he knew best. I was easily influenced, I suppose. And I believed in what he said, and then I handed it to my children. I handed it to my children. I gave my children the same unkind words. How could I do such a thing? How could I do such a thing? And then consciousness sets in, bringing one to a greater place. And then when one can find forgiveness in what they delivered, that now they realize should never have been, ones can open up a space to ask for forgiveness, to go to their children who are now perhaps in their 20s, 30s, 40s, and say, I am so sorry. I didn't know any better. I didn't know any better. And I pray that you didn't believe anything that I said when I was being unkind. My life, it was a mess. And I shared it with my children. I was a mess, and I shared it with my children, and I am so sorry if you feel less than today, less than your magnificent self. I am sorry. And that creates a space to remove the layers. To remove the layers for the parent, to remove the layers for the child that perhaps did hear the unkind words, the condemnation. Can't you do better than that? What is this, B's on the report card? B's? Have you ever heard of an A? You know, your brother gets A's. Your brother gets A's. Why can't you be like your brother? You know, in this family, we get A's, not B's, A's. And some will use it as a scare tactic. And truly, all they are doing is condemning. All they are doing is creating layers. Where are we going with this conversation? Sort of around and around. We want ones to understand. Look within. When was the last time you spoke with unkind words? Where were they coming from? Who were they delivered to? Were they delivered to another or delivered to oneself? Ponder it. And if there was a space for unkindness, where did it come from? Past experience of one's own travel. Carrying around hurt and then unleashing hurt. Carrying around anger, unleashing anger. Carrying around resentment, releasing resentment. Sharing. Putting it upon another. Because one has not gone in search for the great treasure of forgiveness, the great treasure of who one is underneath the layers. What if everything you were taught was opposite to your belief? What if your never get a good report card was so false, and then you discovered your brilliant, intelligent mind? What if you understood of the light and the love you hold within underneath the layers? What if you brought yourself to such compassion for oneself, kindness towards oneself and to others, compassion towards others? What if you raised your consciousness? Some do it naturally, walking along, knowing when they delivered unkind words, they feel the hurt in their own heart, and then they punish themselves. Condemnation on top of condemnation. More punishment, more punishment. Ones feel punishment will be what is needed, and it isn't. It is praise what is needed. It is knowing of the love is what is needed. It's compassion that is needed, kindness that is needed, not punishment. Not punishment. But hard for ones to get their head around it. Ones are so used to beating upon oneself or beating upon another who has created something that was unpleasant. So instead of choosing forgiveness, ones will choose to beat upon the other. And it does not mean that if one has caused great harm, or one you just cannot be around because they just do not stop with their actions. Forgiveness is for oneself. You can forgive another and never see them again in your lifetime. You can forgive another from a great distance. Forgiveness is for oneself, not for the one that has caused the hurt and the pain. So are you causing hurt and pain to yourself this day? Are you bringing forth condemnation towards yourself this day? Ponder it. Think about it. The next time you look at your reflection, the next time you get dressed, are you being kind? Or are you condemning? Are you beating yourself up, or are you praising the brilliance of your magnificent physical form? You are a miracle creating miracles. And yet, most wouldn't even acknowledge that they are a miracle. Most wouldn't even acknowledge that they are good. And it is because of the layers that cover up one's brilliance. Go and search for who you truly are. Remove the layers. Go and search to find forgiveness. Make a choice. Only you can do it. It only comes from within yourself. One can ask for forgiveness, but it only comes from within. From within. Your beautiful, loving light is within. Compassion, kindness, love is within. You are pure. Extend it forth, and forgiveness is within. Go on your greatest search of your own brilliance, underneath all the condemning words placed upon one's being from oneself or from another. How would you live if you never heard a condemning word? There is great love for you.